Abandonment to Divine Providence. By Father Jean-Pierre de Caussade, S.J. Book 2, On the State of Abandonment. Chapter 1. On the Nature and Excellence of the State of Abandonment. Section 1, The Life of God in the Soul. There is a time when the soul lives in God, and a time when God lives in the soul. What is appropriate to one state is inconsistent with the other. When God lives in the soul, it ought to abandon itself entirely to His providence. When the soul lives in God, it is obliged to procure for itself carefully and very regularly every means it can devise by which to arrive at the divine union. The whole procedure is marked out, the readings, the examinations, the resolutions. The guide is always at hand, and everything is by rule, even the hours for conversation. When God lives in the soul, it has nothing left of self, but only that which the Spirit which actuates it imparts to it at each moment. Nothing is provided for the future, no road is marked out, but it is like a child which can be led wherever one pleases, and has only feeling to distinguish what is presented to it. No more books with marked passages for such a soul. Often enough it is even deprived of a regular director, for God allows it no other support than that which He gives it Himself. Its dwelling is in darkness, forgetfulness, abandonment, death and nothingness. It feels keenly its wants and miseries without knowing from whence or when will come its relief. With eyes fixed on heaven, it waits peacefully and without anxiety for someone to come to its assistance. God, who finds no purer disposition in His spouse than this entire self-renunciation for the sake of living the life of grace, according to the divine operation, provides her with necessary books, thoughts, insight into her own soul, advice and counsel, and the examples of the wise. Everything that others discover with great difficulty the soul finds in abandonment, and what they guard with care in order to be able to find it again, this soul receives at the moment there is occasion for it, and afterwards relinquishes so as to admit nothing but exactly what God desires it to have in order to live by Him alone. The former soul undertakes an infinity of good works for the glory of God, the latter is often cast aside in a corner of the world like a bit of broken crockery, apparently of no use to anyone. There, this soul, forsaken by creatures but in the enjoyment of God by a very real, true, and active love, active although infused in repose, does not attempt anything by its own impulse, it only knows that it has to abandon itself, and to remain in the hands of God to be used by Him as He pleases. Often it is ignorant of its use, but God knows well. The world thinks it is useless, and appearances give color to this judgment, but nevertheless it is very certain that in mysterious ways and by unknown channels, it spreads a broad and infinite amount of grace, on persons who often have no idea of it, and of whom it never thinks. In souls abandoned to God, everything is efficacious, everything is a sermon and apostolic. God imparts to their silence, to their repose, to their detachment, to their words, gestures, etc., a certain virtue which, unknown to them, works in the hearts of those around them, and, as they are guided by the occasional actions of others who are made use of by grace to instruct them without their knowledge, in the same way, they, in their turn, are made use of for the support and guidance of others without any direct acquaintance with them, or understanding to that effect. God it is who works in them, by unexpected and often unknown impulses, so that these souls are like to Jesus, from whom proceeded a secret virtue for the healing of others. There is this difference between Him and them, that often they do not perceive the outflow of this virtue and even contribute nothing by cooperation. It is like a hidden bomb, the perfume of which is exhaled without being recognized, and which knows not its own virtue. Next video, Section 2, The Most Perfect Way. Thanks.